Our next speaker comes to us from San Francisco, where she is a psychologist, an educator, and author. And she has carved out a niche for herself working with those people who are recovering Christians, and which she calls recovering from the religious trauma syndrome. This is a topic that will become increasingly important, and it's important for us to understand the kind of trauma that religious people go through. In fact, I suspect that many of you have gone through the same kind of trauma. Some of you may have been raised in completely secular environments, in which case you weren't exposed to this, but you need to understand the traumatic experience that conversion occurs on people who were intensely religious.
I am not Dr. Winell, by the way. She had asked me to introduce her. Excuse me, I'm really nervous. One, I'm public speaking, and I'm not very good at that, or at least it makes me nervous. Two, about 10 months ago, I called myself a Christian. And so I met Dr. Marlene Winell. I always want to say Winell, sorry. Actually at a Fellowship of Freethought Dallas pub night back in the spring, I guess March. And that's where I first learned about what kind of practice she has, catering to people who have left their religion. And I was fresh out of the closet, you know, and I was scared. And I met this psychologist who specializes in this. And I was like, wow, tell me more. We sat there over a few pints, and a couple of us, and I told my story, and she encouraged me to go get her book. And the very next day, I did on Amazon.com, and I read it thoroughly. And anyways, Marlene is, as I said, a psychologist. She received her doctorate from Pennsylvania State University in human study and human development and family studies, excuse me. And she also heads up a group called Release and Reclaim, which I've become a part of. They have group counseling, I guess, via Skype. It's really kind of cool. We have people from Korea and Norway and this and that. And they all have the similar type backgrounds, people who've left their fundamental religion, basically. But again, Dr. Winell asked me to share just a little bit about my story, because it's going to go along with what she has to say. For 26 years, I was a Christian. I grew up in the Baptist church. In the 5th grade, I did the walk down. And then later on in high school, I became a Christian again, which is kind of common. This time through Young Life and outreach ministry in high school. And I was in Colorado and the oohs and the ahs. And anyways, I was heavily involved with my church in high school, in college, and after college as well. Been to Uganda and China, Romania and Russia on mission trips, Bible study, all that stuff. And but anyways, the whole time through high school and college and even afterwards, there was something that just wasn't right. And that's when I went out and I bought Lee Strobel's book, Josh McDowell's book, and I started reading those, these apologists, these Christians apologists, and I read them, and they didn't quite scratch that itch. That I didn't want to give up my religion. I didn't want to give up my hope and my heaven. And so I just kind of swept everything under the rug, put my blinders on, and just went on down the road, enjoying my Christianity. But the thing is that itch never went away. Finally, in June of 2009, I was laid off, which was the biggest blessing of my life. I was laid off, and my industry was not hiring. They were laying off, like a lot of industries the past couple of years. So I decided, I'm going to prove God. I'm going to scratch this itch. But I decided this time, I'm not going to read the Josh McDowells or the Lee Strobels or the Kim Boas or the William Lane Craig's. I'm going to read science and archaeology. And I'm not going to read biblical archaeology or biblical science. I'm going to read science. And I'm also going to peek over the fence and I'm going to look at what some atheists are saying, people who critique the Bible. And I'm going to prove that my God's real. Well, that's not what my friends and family did, but so here it was after 3 or 4 months, and a lot, I also read the Bible. I read the Bible cover to cover in about 3 months, and all these other books, and a lot of YouTube videos. Matt, thank you. I see you right there. I'm really nervous because he's here, and I've been watching him for months. So there we go. It's great. So here I was, just floored. Wait a minute. This isn't real. I was devastated. That's the biggest thing. I mean, I was like, okay, cool. It's not real. It's myth, but crap. I want it to be real, and it was hard. It devastated me. So then I have to tell friends and family. See, it's emotional for me right now. So I decide I need community. Okay, so I get online and I Google and atheist free thinker groups and this and that, and Fellowship of Freethought Dallas popped up. So I'm like, oh gosh, I don't want to go meet a bunch of atheists. I was just scared. So they're having this dinner. I'm like, okay. I talked myself into going. I think I accepted like 3 different events and I chickened out. So I finally go to this dinner. And on my way there, I decide I got to get some beer. I'm not a Baptist anymore, so I swing by and pick up a 6-pack of the family pack of Shiner, and I get there, and I'm scared. Hell. So I get there, and I'm trying to relax. There's music playing, and so the first thing I do is I grab a bottle of liquid courage, pop it open, and I think I just downed the first one. And then I sat there, and I started drinking the second one kind of slowly. Finally, I pop open my third one, and the song comes on. AC/DC's Highway to Hell comes on. You gotta be kidding me. So I drank my third beer even faster than my first beer. And I'm just still freaking out, just scared to death. And so next thing I know, 45 minutes have gone by, and I've killed a 6-pack. So finally, I decided I had enough courage, so I finally got out of my car. I hadn't even stepped foot to the dinner yet. So there I was, and I walked in, and I was hungry at this point, and I was scared, and I was wondering what babies were going to taste like, and they didn't have it, and so, anyways, it was great. It turned out okay. No one, there weren't any Satanists there. They didn't kill anybody or anything like that. But anyways, back to pub night. So I meet Marlene, and I go get her book, and I start reading this book, y'all. And Marlene's book is kind of the how-to guide of leaving your religion. What to expect afterwards. Because when you spend 26 years of having community, and all your friends and all your family are diehard believers, and you say, hey, I don't believe anymore, it's devastating. The loss of community. Well, I've lost friends over this. I have a friend who I've had for 27 years, since the 3rd grade. He hasn't returned my phone calls in 3 months. Excuse me. Anyways, so I'm reading this book, and I'm like, man, I'm going through this. It talks about the pain the anger, the frustration of losing your God, losing friends. And I was alone, trying to do this thing alone. And then I find Marlene, I find her book, and thank you, Marlene. Thank you. From there, I started having some individual sessions with Dr. Winell over the internet via Skype. She's in Berkeley, California, and that's where her practice is based. And I started learning more about the religious trauma syndrome and how it affects you. And I'm learning, and I'm growing, and I'm healing. And I'm also involved with Marlene's group, Release and Reclaim. It's a group she has online. It's like basically group therapy online. And there are people all over the world and the country. And we get on there once a month, and it is wonderful. Just to sit there and we talk about what's going on, and our struggles. And this is new for me, you know. And there are a lot of people on there who are further down the road, but just knowing you're not alone, and that you're not the only one dealing with this stuff. So, and you can get more information from about Marlene on marlenewinell.net. You can learn about her Release and Reclaim group. She also has retreats dealing with religious trauma syndrome and leaving your religion. So anyways, enough about me. That's my story. And your next speaker is who has helped me through this. And she can help others, and she can help you if you need it. So, Dr. Marlene Winell.